Okay, back on the Philco here, we've done a little investigating. We have our SAMs, so we can check the power supply, solid state rectifiers. It's quite a simple set actually, and there's our flyback and whatnot. What I'd like to do is, let me go through what we've done so far. The output tube, horizontal output, is the 6JZ6 Compactron, 6JZ6, and I've gone ahead and tested that. I've tested the output tube, the damper, and both show good so far. They're replacement tubes. The output is an RCA, kind of a late model tube. And another thing we noticed, maybe why the picture tube tests good, is that it's a replacement. It's a replacement CRT, and the wire that was shorting out against the tube, I've gone and wrapped around the output for now, and it goes right to the flyback on the back. So I'm making sure that's not touching any metal, and we'll change that later on. So what I'm going to do is bring up the variac a little bit. I'm not one on reforming capacitors and all that, but I'm not one to just hit it with AC either. So the set is on. I've put it on channel 3. I have my converter box on standby over here. And we'll come back and check this in a few minutes. I'll go up to about 80 volts. I don't see anything on the ammeter yet. Well, yes, there is something. There's a little bit of current, so I'll leave it about there for a few minutes and see what happens. See if any of the tubes are lighting. Yes, the CRT is lighting. And I hear some buzzing, so I hear the vertical oscillator. I'm going to go get the high voltage probe while this does its thing here. Okay, we're at, again, we're just warming up here at like 85 volts. Let's go up to the, give this thing some power here. See if we get some. I have no. Yeah, there is something there. Humidity about 33%. West wind. We have another beauty tomorrow. A lot of sunshine, a little bit of a sea breeze, a few afternoon showers on Thursday. We're holding them off as long as we can. In fact, most of Thursday is dry. But we're delaying the inevitable too. We will get some rain, and it might be torrential by Friday afternoon and into Friday night. 70 up on the North Shore and through the Merrimack Valley. 70 and from the 69 Hyannis, 68. Tonight's low temperatures, our amperages like bebopping around a little bit. Let's check for high voltage here.
52 downtown, still a breeze, so that will keep our temperature up. But the suburbs where it goes Tom, Tewksbury, Wayland, Foxborough,
there's no high voltage.
40, Leominster, and even upper 30s in southwestern New Hampshire at 53.
No high voltage.
This is your wind map that we're talking about. The rain. It is far to the south in the Gulf of Mexico. First, your temperatures tomorrow, 71 in town. There's your sea breeze in Salem and in Scituate. Mid-70s Metro West.
Well, let's see what's going on here. Okay, inside with the Philco chassis on the bench here, we've noticed a couple things. We have this hack repair here, you might want to call it, where someone just added a used Motorola capacitor to a bracket on the side here. And they really only used, well, 2 sections of it. So that's why the screen underneath the set was replaced. And we have a broken wire here and some insulation worn off, and luckily we could see that went to the power switch right there. Nothing like having a broken wire and having to trace where it came from, but we found that
trick I do is you just kind of place it in close proximity of where you might have gone, and where it might have gone, and then you can see it went to the power switch there. So we may disable that in a bit. Another thing I've noticed, I know the tuner was made in Japan, but 1966 is its born-on date here. We have a May 4th, 1966. And I already see made in Taiwan. That's this is like the beginning of the end of Philco before Ford bought them, I guess. But yeah, I was heading towards a downward spiral here for domestically made products, starting as early as that. So in any event, moving on, we have a problem over here in this section. Again, this is the wire on the plate of the output tube. I want to go underneath and check some of the connections under here. We've brought our yoke in with us, and well, let's get up and get a look underneath there and take a look. Well, there are some connections around the oscillator and the damper and the high voltage output tube, the horizontal output tube. But right, what we'll do next is we'll plug this thing in and check some of the voltages on this output tube here, which is this one right here. Okay, looking at this capacitor here that was added, there's two sections jumped together. That's not a big deal. That's the ground, and one lead, okay, one lead goes to the junction of the two rectifiers here. That I understand, which is C1 A, which is the should be a 50 at 200, so he has a 150 at 300. A 150 at 300 in the place of the 50 at 200. Okay, fine. But then he has he, she, whoever it was, has the two that are coupled together are a 30 and a 10. So we have 40 at 300 going to the focus point over here, which says focus and 400 volts. This pin you would move for the best focus. So he's got the other wire, which is a 40 at 300 going to this focus point that says 400 volts on the board. Says 345 on the schematic there, and then goes to the junction of these two, right off the 550 boost to the junction of these 2.2 megs right here that feed the vertical height. So I don't know why he's filtering that with 40 microfarad. Shouldn't be a big deal. I don't see any other 40 microfarad capacitor around here that you would be subbing out. So I'm gonna just make a note of that. I've had trouble with these in the past. I've seen them, I think, on B. Anderson's site. Is this little couplet here with this 90K. We've had trouble with these in the town and countries, and I had someone repair it, but I didn't quite understand. That had to do with the vertical rolling after it warmed up a few minutes, and it ended up being that the picture would not lock in. But enough of that later. Let's just try to get the this thing up and running. Okay, looking in this area of the schematic here by the screen of the output tube right here, this 132 volts. I was looking around the area of this board, and I'll get to the width control, this R84 and R85 right here. This resistor reads like 27K. We'll check that in a minute. And this one down here reads 2700 ohms, supposed to be 2.7, reads up around 5, I think. And it's right at the 190 volts. And the width control, I looked at the PC board and there was some damage around the width control that I'll point out, and that's been replaced. And that width control that's supposed to be 3000 ohms, 3K 2 watt, is reading like 95K ohms. So that's open. So let me show you where it is on the board here. So I was on the board here looking at this VR3, and I was scratching my head looking at VR3. Where's VR3? Well, on the schematic, it's the width control there, right up below the focus points. It's the width control. So there is no width control on this board. What's been done is someone's gone ahead and, I was wondering why I couldn't get the high voltage cage open. They've gone and replaced it with, they've gone and added this bracket here, another repair. I don't know if you can't really blame these guys, but they added this, they took the pot tensiometer, the pot off the board here, and added this, they like these little red things they added to the pots. Anyway, what I went ahead and done is I checked this, this is R84 and 85, I don't know which one this one is, but this one right here, and the other one is, the 2 watt is over here behind the damper there. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you what they read. Basically, we'll the meter over here, and we'll just see what we get. Of course, the glare is right on the meter, so you can't see that. And you can't see it over there either. So hold the phone here. Alright, so we're going to go in, and this one right here, the width control, like I say, which is absent from the board, was here. They've gone and someone's added it over here. So when I read the width control, it's like 91k ohms, 92. It has to be open. It was right here on the board. And this resistor here, which is supposed to be the 1 watt, which is the 2700 ohm, reads this chassis so grungy it's hard to get a 1.1k. 1.1k is well, that's alright. It's 1,000 ohm. It's supposed to be 1 watt. It reads 1100. So that one's not bad. And then over here on the this one's supposed to be 2700, and it reads like 5. Five and a half K. So that's not what we want. So I'm not too worried about that yet. We'll get back to that. But that's what I wanted to show you at this point, and stay tuned. We'll come back after. I may just put a resistor here to put something here in place of the width to see if I can get my high voltage back. I'm not going to worry about the 2 out of tolerance resistors right now. Let's just change this width control and see if we get our high voltage back. Okay, I think we're ready for the smoke test here. I've gone and I put in a 1K and a 500 ohm 5 watt, so I've got about 1.5K across that width control. I've also got I added a capacitor over here to take place of that big can that was saddle strapped to the side of it. I also what else have we got to go here? I've also got the I'll get my leads out of the way here. I've also got I'm going to check for 132 volts at the screen of the 6H JZ8 here. JZ6. I have my high voltage probe ready to we'll check our high voltage here. We're going to check the screen of the horizontal output tube, and I'm watching, and like I say, we should have approximately, well, let's see how we do, 132 volts. I eliminated this capacitor here that they had on that focus pin. It was only 40 microfarad. I don't know what it's doing there, but I'm going to leave it out for right now. So the switch is on. I've taped up for now the exposed wires, and we're going to plug it in here and see what happens. You don't need the picture tube attached because this is not a series set. So let's go up and see if we are drawing any power here. I'm not drawing any current at this point. Okay. I don't know what that's all about, so hold the phone. Okay. Seems we had a little problem with our connection up here, so I've gone and tacked it onto the power switch. So here we go. We're drawing current. Turn up the voltage a little bit. The tuner light is on. We have a speaker attached. And the tubes are lighting. Let's see what happens here. I don't hear any high voltage. We don't have any signal attached, but we're drawing a little more current than we used to, so that's a good sign. And let's go up to full power here. I do hear some strange noise here, so we do have high voltage now. About 11 kV. I do hear, doesn't sound, a little strange sounding. I say about 12, 14, 60, about just under 12,000 kV. So we have our high voltage back. I don't see anything happening. I don't hear the vertical that much though. I do hear some vertical. Like I say, I don't know. Ooh, that must be our... We'll have to put it back in the cabinet and see what we get. Okay, that'll do it for this portion. And we had a tube here, we could see if we got anything, but maybe we'll throw it back in the cabinet and see what happens next. Again, let's check the voltage on that. Let's check the voltage on the screen of this real quickly. 95 volts, 96 volts on the screen, which it says it was supposed to be 132. So that's a little low. 132, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. But preliminary results are in. We have 12,000 kV, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching.